What's going on here is much more complex than that.
Well, what have we here?
Hello there, Sorry from 17 once again. This is my South Park The Stick of Truth hardcore video walkthrough. This is O Canada, and we're going to be speedrunning through a ton of quests in this place to get back to South Park and carry on with the main game. So to get out of this building, you'll be asked what photos size you want. Whichever one you pick, your buddy will say they would have picked the opposite, which is kind of weird. But once we've talked to those people, they want us to go to Winnipeg, and you want to be really careful with these dire wolves. Any enemy in Canada is very dangerous. We're talking, if they ambush you, you've lost. Because regardless of blocking, they just do massive damage. And we're going to avoid that as much as possible. But once you talk to the Earl, he wants you to kill the dire bears. The dire bears are up here. There will always be 3 of them. You want to try, if you can, to stun this before you fight. I messed up just then, and they ambushed me. So this is a great example of what happens when you get ambushed. So watch this. If they do this attack, this is the best one because it's the weakest one. If they do anything else, it can be really, really painful. But they didn't, so that was a very lucky AI pattern. If they'd have done their main attack, someone would have died. So, do a quick heal on Cartman, no child left behind and all that, and then we can get to poisoning and status affecting the bears. So the bears themselves are pretty weak. They're not that tough to kill, but like a lot of stuff in Canada, if they attack first, they can do some considerable damage. And here is Cartman and his awesome ass. Cartman's attacks are great for hitting groups, are great for doing big damage. Like there was the crazy meteorite attack and the crazy eye lasers. The eye laser one can do massive damage. But that right there, like if he'd have hit Cartman, then Cartman would have died, regardless of my blocking prowess. It just does too much damage. And because these things are so close to dying, we should be able to just finish it off with another quick ass blast. So, Burning Cloud, see you later. And then we can go back to the Earl and show him the pelts of the dire bears. Because he wants to make a totally sweet coat, I think. But I mentioned in the previous video, there's a quest in fact, that involves beating up a bishop and getting his balls. If you take his balls and you don't spare him, you'll not be able to befriend one of the people in Canada, and it will screw you on the more popular than John Lennon achievement. So you want to be really careful. This was me getting ambushed by the direwolf when we got back to the main map. But I got lucky here because not only did they do the Canadian greeting, which is really weak, but there was only 2 of them. But did you see that damage? Just imagine if both of those enemies had done that move, it would have killed both of us, and there would have been nothing I could do. That's what I was talking about, guys. 3 wolves, all of them do frost breath, you're dead. No arguments, no buts, nothing. Just dead. Incredibly dangerous. Obviously, if you're maybe wearing better armor, or you've got armor mods that do in fact reduce damage from block or something, it might be more survivable. But as it stands, on my particular characters in this particular time, very dangerous stuff. But there they go. I tried my best to avoid fights, but that was one of those moments where you never know when you're going to go back to the main screen after the black screen, and as soon as we went back, I just got bit. So it's a little bit unlucky, but it does happen. But now that we've got whatever we needed from him, I think he wanted like some written letter, we can come over to the prince. The prince is going to deny us, but his wife is going to help us out. And she's going to give us a letter for the Bishop of Banff, is it? Because what the prince wants here is he wants the bishop's balls, but when we go back with them, he doesn't give us what we want. Instead, we have to use his wife to go to Vancouver and do a mission in Vancouver. Which, this must be a really funny section for people who live in Canada, because not only are they familiar with a lot of the stuff it's mocking, But I think it's better when you're part of the joke on something like this. Like, I've never been to America or Canada, and a lot of the differences between both of those countries to me seem incredibly slight. But I know there'll probably be the difference between England, Scotland, and Wales for me, which, because I live here, the difference isn't massive. But to other people who think everybody in the UK sounds Australian, they probably don't see the nuances much. So, once again, if you're part of the joke, it's probably a lot funnier. But this is the Bishop of Banff. He's a really funny fight. He's not very tough, but he can heal himself, so you need to be careful. But once again, build that bleed, build that fire. And if Cartman could do Curse, which is the V-chip move he has, you'd probably be able to one-shot this guy, because that move is so powerful. Judge the Philistine is his fart attack. He is Canadian, he knows how to fart, and then he takes a massive bit of damage there. I'm going to try the backstab on him just to see what the damage does. Here we go. So nearly 2,500, that's not bad at all. Which means at the end of his next turn, he's dead if Cartman doesn't kill him, and Cartman's probably going to kill him. Yeah, there you go. Bishop is down. And there's a fantastic line when you initiate combat with that guy, because he just goes, "Who the fuck hits a bishop?" It's so good. But isn't this ironic? Because this was my second playthrough, I decided to spare him and to see what happened. Yet when I went for the collectibles run, I just killed him because I thought it'd be quicker. Oh, I think I was just mashing through the cutscene, so it picked itself. But this here, the Discus of Bleeding, this is an incredibly powerful thrown weapon, but it has a downside. The downside is it only hits twice. But if you put something on it that multiplies bleed, you don't really need it to hit that often. And the good side of it is, it can hit for about 2,000 damage, which is insane on certain enemies. It's really good against Kenny at the end of the game. But now that we've done Banff, we're going to try and dodge this Viper, and then we're going to go back to Ottawa. And in here, when we take them back to the Prince, he's going to Jolly Roger's, which is not too cool. Also, you need to have Canadian money to spend or buy things in Canada, which I suppose is quite realistic for a pixelated world. And you can either sell stuff here and get their currency, or you can convert the dollar into Canadian dollars. Which I'm not too sure if there's a joke at the conversion rate, because I didn't really convert that much money. But I'm sure there is something there, because there's so many little jokes in this game, it's pretty damn amazing. But this is the second to last place we're going to visit in Canada before we leave. This is the last town we'll visit, aside from Ottawa. So, come in here, go directly north, and you're going to talk to this guy who's on the telephone and is pretty angry that we're in his office. So, there's the letter from the princess. He then tells you to go to the monks at the bottom of the village. The monks are across this water area, and unless you're inquisitive, it took me a while to figure out I could just walk across that. I thought I might have needed something to get across it. So I'm glad I tried to just walk and saw the context-sensitive boat image appear, or I would have been stuck for a while there. But Terence and Philip want you to show them that you can fart, so you need to show them the dragon fart first, then the cup of fart, and then the sneaky squeaker. So there's that. And he's like, "Well, I bet he can't cup of fart." There you go. But you can't do too quickly, as I've just witnessed, because it doesn't register. You have to wait for them to finish speaking. After the third one, they're going to teach you the most powerful fart on the game, and it's called the Nagasaki. And the Nagasaki is, it takes off, it's 100 mana to use, so you pretty much need a full mana bar, but it will kill an entire room full of dudes and do massive damage to bosses. Like, as long as you know how to refill your mana without shitting yourself, you can spam Nagasaki and kill almost anything. It's incredibly powerful and it's really easy to use. So, we've just unlocked one of the most broken aspects of the game. But it is the end, and there's only a couple of sequences left. So, you need to use the Nagasaki to break this. Whenever you see a rock with green veins running through it and in the cracks, it means that it needs Nagasaki. And the cool thing about those rocks is the Nagasaki point is always the same, so I believe that one's about 11 o'clock on a clock. But here is the Prime Minister. You need to fart on that guy before you give him the item, because he's the only missable person you need to fart on to get the farting on royalty achievement thing. And that right there is the Barbarian armor. We're going to be putting that on to get the damage bonus. There you go. And then we're going to be evading this massive gangbang of enemies again, because that is a tough fight, that, against all those people. Like, now we've got Nagasaki, it's easy, but before we had it, it's a very challenging one, and like, if they pick on one person when they're all attacking, good luck getting No Child Left Behind, because it can very, very easily go wrong. But as I mentioned as well, and I'm not too sure because I've not confirmed this, I don't know if you can just have people die several times in battle, but as long as they're alive, it still gives you the achievement, because I just didn't let people die, so I'm not too up on it. But that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.